Hello, everybody. Welcome in. We're here to celebrate a wonderful win tonight. A stupendous, imperious, dominating win tonight was, I think, an adjective that was used earlier. Woo-wee! Man, that was exhilarating. That was breakneck. That was everything a soccer game is billed for. If this was your first time watching a soccer game, my oh my, am I envious of that. That was infectious. It is stupendous. This is something that's going to linger in people's minds for a while. And if it's the last home game that we have in this playoffs, I mean, that's a pretty damn good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Michael. I'm AJ. If you're new around here, make sure to subscribe, like this video. Don't be a freeloader. But, yeah, you pulled out the thesaurus. Very hard to say. For that one, for sure. And, yeah, I mean, we contemplated before the show started if we just did, like, noises for 2 minutes. Because that was just all those goals. Yeah. But, yes, we did concede a couple of goals that were, symptomatic. Kind of like, yeah, usually this is how we concede. We kind of let off. But yeah, these goals though, so many to choose from. When we score so many goals, we always have to choose a favorite. We'll get to that later. But yeah, a 4-2 win over Columbus Crew, especially when we didn't have a shot on goal in the first match. Yeah, it's definitely a very good night. And I think we, it's this. I think we large in part controlled the proceedings. And we had Columbus where we mostly wanted them. And, their shots were mostly from distance. I mean, that's how Cucho was able to get his and their first goal. But, yeah, we just switch off when we're up 4-1. That goal, I even maybe count that as a goal that we should even look at, maybe. Parata just came on. Yeah, I mean, we could shore that up, I think, fairly easily. But, man, there's so much to love about this match.
Yeah, and, but before we get a little too more into it, let's look at our starting lineup for tonight as well. We got Drew, Gavin, and Ariel once again as our top contributors at the highest levels that we currently have going. We're really appreciative of you guys. And yes, please sign up for our Patreon to keep the lights on and this program running. And man, coverage of these matches, because dang, is it a lot of fun.
It is. And I mean, shouts out to all the Patreon members as well for the support throughout the season. I mean, this very well could have been the last time we saw a good number of these players play for LA United. I mean, at least at the Benz, Miles Robinson, like the biggest one probably. That's fortunately might be gone. So this was, I think the players felt the pressure a little bit, but I think they rose to the occasion. And Giakoumakís, man, he was imperious. He had 2 assists and a goal, 3 goal contributions. Wow. I mean, that's just like, this dude, he put the team on his back. His layoffs were incredible tonight. His touch, maybe not always incredible, but we'll forgive him when there's 3 goal contributions. And that first goal, what a bullet header, man. Like, unstoppable completely. The goalkeeper couldn't do anything about it. Bottom right corner. And yeah, it's like, Columbus, at your own peril, give Brooks Lennon all the time in the world. Pick out a pass. Like, not the smartest thing to do. I mean, I don't think we've seen, his counterpart, person that he replaced more or less, Julian Gressel, besides a moment from which he bullied Caleb Wiley a little bit, which fair enough. He's a teenager. But Julian Gressel, yeah, I mean, he hasn't really been present, so that's a good thing. Like, we've been keeping a very dangerous player quiet. And, yeah, I mean, Cucho Hernandez, though, unfortunately, yeah, he's somebody that we should keep an eye on. Don't we think? Like, he scored twice in 2 games.
3 times.
Didn't he get the brace? 3 times. He has a number. He kind of has a number.
I mean, he just beat Miles Robinson pretty quickly and easily. That's hard to do. I mean, the guy just has a touch. First touch, put Miles on his butt, and then blasted it right into the corner. Goose had very little time to react, and he probably wasn't getting there anyway, even if he did have any time. And, man, like, that was rough. That was a gut punch because, of course, it came customarily right before the half, like we want to always do. It seemed like we were going back to old. This is exactly like the recipe for an Atlanta United match at home. It's like 1 part goal early, 2 parts goals for the other team at the end of the first half. So yeah, it was a little frustrating to see that, but we did something. And this is a big one.
That we don't normally do.
Yeah. And we clap back basically instantly, right, literally like a couple seconds before the end of the first half. That is a sign of a good team.
Yeah, for sure. And, yeah, that play itself, I mean, so good. And, yeah, I mean, Giakoumakís, I believe it was that play, that he was able to lay him off. And, yeah, Shauna Silva. We'll talk about the other thing that happened. But his goal, well taken.
Yeah.
And, yeah, definitely very, very much needed at that point in time. And pulling out the Spider-Man mask, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. Wait, what's that? Wait, hold on 1 second. Is that Shonday?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, AJ didn't hear that, but I just played some of the Spider-Man theme song in the background.
Okay. I was like, I'm not sure what's happening, but yeah, man, like he pulled out the web shooters essentially as well for his celly, and it was it was awesome.
The pictures are all over. Fox News is a real cold one out too. That looks really good.
And it's one of my I guess formerly favorite players, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, most well known for pulling out the Batman and others, but to see that in Atlanta was a lot of fun. And stroke of halftime, we're up 2-1, and I think this scoreline, I think, and I said this on 5 Takes as well during their, they pretty much chatted to a lot of fans at halftime and got their takes. And so, you should check them out afterward. But, 2-1 is a lot better of a scoreline, I think, going into the half than actually 2-0. As we know, 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline. You get sucked into a false sense of complacency or security. And, I think that little bit of a mouth punch was actually really beneficial for us to make sure that we did not get kind of high and rest on our laurels. So, that second half, the way it started, I think, we made sure that it wasn't a tale of 2 halves. It was the performance, maybe a couple moments aside. I mean, like Tristan Muyumba, like he made up for that almost being sent off performance in game 1.
Playoff Miyamba was a different animal.
Yeah.
That was insane tonight.
Yeah. I mean, he was everywhere. I'm sure his heat map is just like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is just
we'll get into some of the because there's a lot of things to say about a lot of the players tonight. So before we do that, we're going to get some help. We're going to have Bryce from MLS Now podcast join us. And he is going to pop in and give us some of his takes from the game and help us sort out what we saw and how we describe things. So Bryce is popping in, and once he gets his camera on, we'll have him on here. Here he is. Welcome, Bryce. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. How's it going, guys?
Thanks for having me. Amazing.
Absolutely. Welcome, man. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, first time on one of these. It feels right after a performance like that. So what an amazing night tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Yeah. If you have some more thoughts, please go ahead.
Yeah, so it's crazy. We get the first goal. It's beautiful. You could feel it really coming. The possession, Columbus, first 5-10 minutes really dominated the start of it, but we really didn't let that last for too long. We didn't really let them capitalize on that. We took advantage, and as I said, yeah, a goal felt like it was coming. Beautiful hockey assist from Saba, setting up that play, getting it over to Lennon, and what a cross and a beautiful goal by Giakoumakís there, and to start things off. And Columbus countered, and it felt like one of those things like the first game, Cucho getting a goal right before half, and this one felt even more of a killer in our home, even though they tied it up, and it hurt, and I really thought we were going to go in at half and seeing how we would counter with that. But what a beautiful sequence there from Saba to Giakoumakís to Zande to go into the half. And we saw a little bit of Spider-Man to finish. So beautiful way to end the first half. And like you said earlier, AJ, just we didn't let that be a tale of two halves. We came out firing even before the Zande missed goal, or Giakoumakís had a couple of great chances there to start the second half. A great ball by Saba over the top there that he missed with his left foot, like right off to start the second half. And we were just firing on all four cylinders there, and found the third goal. Found the fourth one before they found the second, and it definitely enjoyed the last 10 minutes without kind of sweating as much as I thought I was going to after the first half. So great game, still buzzing from it, and it feels good. Hopefully it's not the last match. Players like Miles or Tiago or maybe even Brad play in the Benz. So hopefully we can get everyone back and we can go on a little playoff run ourselves here.
Yes, hopefully so. I think we should also give a shout out to whoever kept the Spider-Man mask for Shauna Silva, kind of nearby the goal. That was clutch, very clutch.
Right.
Who knows if it would have happened, but yeah, he had the. That's what's so funny is like these players, they definitely plan their celebrations.
Yeah.
And definitely a lot of fun. But which one was your favorite goal? Because 4 goals always with this type of quality too, difficult to choose from.
Yeah, it is really hard. I think in terms of the shock factor, the second one really got me. Just a beautiful sequence, and that just shows that everyone talked about after the first game how great Columbus is on the counter, and everyone kind of forgot about how Atlanta is. Atlanta is a very similar team to Columbus, so when we come out and do amazing things like that, then I think it shows how great we are. So the shock factor is just a beautiful goal all around. The shot, the build-up pass. Giakoumakís isn't really known to be a great passer, but 2 primary assists tonight. And then also someone like Saba, who really found his way in the first half and kind of doing the little things in the final third there. But the first goal also felt great. Getting ahead early is awesome, and Giakoumakís shows that he's still just an amazing goal scorer. So that felt great to start the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, Yako's goal obviously started things out right, gets psychological advantage early. That's great and all. But we all knew as Atlanta United fans, not all was perfectly right with the world yet. things can still very much go awry. Luckily, with the second goal after Columbus's goal, it changed things for me, and I think it changed things for Columbus in their minds, because we didn't just score off of like a set piece or a header, or when clearly like Atlanta's like trying to play a little bit desperate or something like that. It wasn't that at all. We were composed, and not only that, we played around their defense. We made them look silly on a transition moment. Saba danced around players, had some amazing touches to receive the ball and then get it by some guys, leaving it off and to Yako, who then has a nice little touch to Sande, has the wherewithal to look around to know Sande's coming, crashing in, and he just perfectly lays it off for him and he nails it. I mean, that's a team goal. That's a type of goal that Columbus goes like, wait, hold on a second. I thought they were just going to try and hit us on these kind of like dead ball kind of things, desperate, crosses and hoping for Yako to get a header, and like they do with the first one. It was like, and they're like, wait a second, this is different. We need to do something about this. And then they kind of got a little frazzled from that. Nancy's going back into the locker room going like, okay, we need to change some things up because this isn't good. If they can hit us like that, we didn't expect that. That's scary. We need to do something a little different.
Yeah. Bryce, what do you think was the difference between this match and last match? I mean, obviously the goals, but in terms of, build up, in terms of
and why was it Thiago Almada?
It's funny because a lot of people thought Almada was very quiet in the beginning. A lot of our goals, obviously, Almada wasn't one of the main pieces of that. But I think the factor of Thiago Almada being out there it really changes the approach of really game planning around Atlanta United. Just you really don't know where he's going to come from. He can really drop back and play balls across the field and really open up space from one side of the field to the other. Or he can dive himself into the attack and really make things really silky there. So him being out there definitely changes things. And I love him as a reporter, but I saw a tweet from Felipe saying that Columbus should feel really confident heading into the home leg, but they didn't see him in game one at home, and it's anyone's game now. And having Almada out there is definitely a difference maker. As you were saying earlier, AJ, that we've really shut down Gressel. There hasn't really much from Diego Rossi either. So if Columbus is going to beat Atlanta, he also needs to show up. And we've done really good controlling two of their strongest attackers outside of Cucho. So we've done a very good job there so far. I thought the defense looked really solid tonight, definitely better on the counter. And as we were saying, the goals. Instead of getting a goal in the late 40s minute against us, we got one tonight, but we countered with one. So it definitely feels good having the goal heading into half. So
I think one of the big things all around with what you're kind of hinting at is, like you mentioned, Thiago Almada's ability to switch the ball really easily. That to me, in games when we don't have Thiago, or like we're stymied defensively, like we're getting completely pressed and we're not able to connect lines, from the defense to the defensive midfield and mid and attack and everything. We can't do that. Thiago just picks his head up, clears like two lines with a pinpoint pass. He did it like 4 or 5 times this game. Columbus was suffocating us a couple of times in this game, as they are known to do. They've did it to us in the past, and they tried it again tonight because they're good at it, and they did a decent job. However, Thiago was just, I don't care. Just bop it right over you guys, make you spread out, make you get drawn out, and it was incredibly effective at taking that pressure off of the defense. Because I saw a couple times we were having trouble getting out. Once that ball got to Thiago, though, it was off to the races. Everyone was bombing down. And I'm just like, wow, that's like, it just reminds me of, when Joseph Miguel, when they see the trigger and they just would run and that ball would come and it would just be disaster for the other team.
Right. And it's one of those things where, we're talking like how great Darlington Nagby was for us. Obviously he's on their side now, but when someone like Almada can really drop back and take that space, it really allows someone like Tristan Mayumba to push up even more. And I think we saw the difference of him from game 1 to game 2, of course, and how solid he looked. I think Almada really opens up Mayumba moving forward and feeling more comfortable as well. And And yeah, if Amada can drop back into space, he can go forward with it. It also can allow Mayumba to really feel flexible in the field. And what a performance by him. I know kind of off track, but Tristan Mayumba, what a game. That tackle late there from the Columbus attacker, blanking on the name right now, but it was late in the 70th, 80th minute. That was an amazing tackle there. All around solid performance by him.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's like Thiago Almada opens up the space for others in the midfield and attack to thrive. And Muyumba, you saw him have a little bit more freedom. Usetu, he was pretty much dropping back and playing that kind of deep line playmaker a little bit, and making sure that somebody was staying back to be able to at least dictate some things. But obviously he went off injured. How big of a miss is he in Game 3 if he does not recover from? It seemed like maybe a hamstring, apparently, maybe. So, obviously he's been much maligned throughout the season, but we're set to.
He had a decent game tonight. I mean, everyone had a good game tonight. I don't think there was anyone who had a particularly bad game or egregious play or really much of anything. I don't remember one like a negative comment I made, and that was kind of like earlier on when, I mean, there was one time where Darlington Abbey kind of just he was going up against Osetu and made him look ridiculous. But that's just going to happen though, and I expected it. But that's
not really on Osetu. Really,
it really isn't. So besides that, I don't remember being like, wow, that was like really bad. Except for obviously Shande's sit or miss, but with him scoring that great goal earlier, it's kind of like a wash in a way. So, what are your thoughts on?
You forget about it as soon as Columbus didn't make it 2-2. That was in the back of my head. If Columbus makes it 2-2, we're going to remember that Zonde miss. But as soon as we made it 3-1, out of my mind.
Yeah.
And it's that too. Giakoumakīs, he made sure that the crowd, kind of let him off a little bit and supported him. Got the crowd riled up again, and I think that's huge. That's some leadership. And there's this athletic article from Felipe Cardenas that came out today about a number of things, really. But his time at Celtic, and Pastaloglu is the Tottenham head coach who doesn't like him, and it just makes me even not like Ange even further. Me being a Gooner, so. Yeah, it's I'm like, always knew I didn't like you, Ange. You who dislikes Giakoumakīs? I mean, come on, right? Like, who the hell do you think you are? But
probably
anyway,
a lot of people in the Scottish Premier League, but
Felipe was really good with that article to come out after Tottenham lost 4-1. It's funny how the article comes out now.
It's like, and I love it. I'm here for it. But in terms of the Giakoumakīs, I mean, it showed that he, while it was left late for him to come to Atlanta, he definitely felt the love from the front office. And you guys should read the article from Felipe Cardenas. It's great. But Giakoumakīs, very much at that point, and pretty much after that loss in Columbus, you could kind of feel a little bit of that hunger that he was portraying tonight, because he definitely made a point that he's going to be an impact in this match, and he did. And I feel like there's very few players like him in the league when he's on song. It's just he's a monster against your defenders. I mean, he's just you basically almost cannot deal with him because he's just so strong, and it really takes the strongest of the defenders really to deal with him, and there's not many that can handle him in the league. But Bryce, hey, what are your final thoughts on this match?
Final thoughts. It felt great. Obviously, I was saying it would be nice not to let Columbus get a second one, just to get some confidence heading into Game 3. They did find that. It was a nice goal by them, but obviously didn't hurt as much. If it was aggregate, that would have hurt because that would have gave them the tie to move on to the next round. I was saying we made it 4-1. I was saying I guess I would have liked the aggregate back, but as soon as they made it 4-2, I was like, I love this Game 3 now, so we'll take it.
Exactly.
Sunday is going to be amazing. I'm curious to see the tactics of both teams. Obviously, in a game like this, one team kind of go all out and get as many, but now it's going to be treated as win or go home. So curious to see how this goes. Obviously, we have the confidence going in. It's going to be inside of Columbus's house, and I think it's a 12-hour rule. It could be excited about tonight, but move on, get ready for Game 3 heading into tomorrow. So definitely exciting to win a home one like this and continue on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, great points. It's like there's a lot of storylines, I think, going into Sunday that, LA United, not the best road team, but also, though, Thiago Motta hasn't played in Columbus. The two matches that we played that we, just looked dire, he was not part of. So, and the match that he is part of, we pretty much roll him over. So, yeah, there's a lot of very interesting things, as well as, we're not going to play defensively, obviously, going into Columbus. So, yeah, it might be a shootout like this one was.
It better be.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
I think the neutral fans will root for that for sure.
I mean, if we go down, it's got to be going down swinging, like 3-4 goals against them. And if they beat us 4-5, be like, okay. But, like, it's got to be that or we win. That's got to be how it goes.
Mm-hmm. So it is. I think we shook them a little bit tonight. I think there's a bit of, that confidence that, well, I mean, for many, they were probably the dark horse favorites. After FC Cincy, maybe LAFC out of the West. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we might be able to do something.
Yeah, I have them in my bracket competition, and if we beat them, that will literally break my bracket. So that's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like bittersweet for me.
Yeah. Yeah, who cares about the bracket at that point?
Listen, I'm very competitive, okay?
I've seen so many media members in the MLS having Columbus moving on within not even the Eastern Conference Finals, but just making the MLS Cup and maybe even winning it. And I've not seen many of Atlanta moving on out of the first round. And I think it's, when we created the club and our success in the first 3 years, we never really been looked at as the underdogs too much. So it's a different approach in the playoffs, and I'm kind of enjoying it right now. And I like the mentality, and I think the team's really buying around that as well.
Oh, indeed. Yeah. I think, I think they played with a fearlessness tonight that you had to. And, I mean, I think they could do it again Sunday. It's really, like, we're still not the favorites. We are going away, and, we we have not won there this year. I mean, there's pretty much all the pressure is on Columbus. So, hopefully we play free and we can do some business. But, hey, Bryce, pleasure. Really great to meet you. And, hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yep, thanks for coming on, bud.
Thanks for having me, guys. Hopefully I'm back on Sunday after a great Game 3 victory. And as the late, great Black Mamba Kobe Bryant once said, job not finished. So,
well, if you'll have us, we'll have you.
Great. Thanks,
take
guys.
Care, bud.
Bye. Have a great rest of your night.
All right. So before we get to our next guest, I'm going to look at some of the chat. So please get your comments and questions into us, and we'll look them over. All right. We got Elliot Beaven in the chat. We got Jordan Tumlin saying, well, that was awesome. Andrew Watkins saying, smiling from buffer to buffer. Love our club at full throttle, arrives at 3-point station on time and in record time. Elliot says, Spider-Man saves the day. Baraka says, the South got something to say. Alex Wimberg says, vamos, we are the A. Elliot also says, being at home helped this team a lot. Coach K says, Game 3 is ours. Alex also says, I wish we could wear the 404 kit in Columbus. Andrew says,
I know,
right? Yeah, I feel the same way. Andrew says, in transfer rumors that Robert Lewandowski will be on the market, make sure front office makes a move for him. Alex says, it was great that the fans started chanting Zonde's name after his miss. Kind of to let him know that we're still behind him and to pick up his head. Yeah, I completely agree. Elliot also says, Edwin Mosquera's goal was my favorite. Drew says, let's go. Great game. Strong says, Giakoumakís makes love. He says, makes love to them all. That is why they don't like him. They're praying for him to leave MLS.
I was wondering where that was going.
I was thinking about whether or not I wanted to say it, but
okay.
Elliot says, my bracket is broken with St. Louis losing. Yeah, that was pretty wild. I don't know if a lot of people saw that coming.
So on that, on the St. Louis thing, so I have been guesting on this network called Goals TV. You guys should check it out. But we literally did a playoff preview. I might have been the only one that actually said St. Louis. Everybody else actually on that show went for SKC, which, yeah, they've been the hottest. And, yeah, with Tim Melia in a shootout, it's hard. Yeah. It's hard to beat him in a shootout. So, yeah, St. Louis broke some brackets. That's too damn bad. But, I think ultimately after that, we'll talk about the rest of the playoff picture on a different show. But yeah, who do we have?
We have my good buddy Ellie is joining us. Ellie, how you doing?
What's going on, y'all? And you guys get a 2-for-1 today because I got my brother right next to me too.
He's with us as well. All right.
That's right.
Welcome in, boys. All right, so give us your hot takes, your cold takes, and your medium warm takes.
All right, so don't hate me for this first part, but I haven't tuned into any of the games since pretty much the last time I think we were all together at Mike's house. So it's kind of surprising to come back and see a blowout game. I think really fun for me to watch. I'm sure it was fun for him to watch. So no better game to kind of come back into and see from start to end. And see a surprising result, at least statistically, what I would have expected. So I enjoyed it. It was fun. I can, for any fan that was probably at the actual game, I'm sure, AJ, you enjoyed the game. It looked like the atmosphere was pretty crazy, so it's always fun to see, too.
Yeah. What did you think? What was your favorite goal and your favorite play? What players really stood out to you? What was the difference making?
Okay, so one player that I hadn't really recognized because I haven't really tuned into the games was Muyamba. What, am I saying that right?
Tristan Muyamba, yeah.
Yep.
Muyamba.
Yep. I was thoroughly surprised. I mean, he was all over the pitch. He had great energy, a lot of running, a lot of covering the field. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Nagby, to be honest, when he just covered a lot of the pitch. So that's kind of really good energy to see in the game from a player that, is defending and it's attacking and is just moving all over the place. So also creatively, he seems pretty fun to watch. So I enjoyed him. I really liked watching him and, the announcer too. Every time I kind of heard his name and just it's good to see that from a player that I guess we haven't had in the midfield for a little while, at least, previously or the last maybe year and a half. So I think that was really surprising to me to kind of see. I don't know how he's performed the previous games, but I think this was a very surprising game for me to watch, kind of somebody new to me. So that was fun. Surprise. That was surprise number one for me. The favorite goal, I'd have to say the second goal. I think it was just built out nicely with Saba, another player that I hadn't really seen either, kind of dribbling through a couple of players, laying it out nicely for Giakoumakís, and then,
Silva is probably another player you don't know very much.
That's right, and coming in hot and just scoring that, despite the fact that he missed his other chance. But that was pretty fun to see. So that's my favorite goal.
And so, what do you think goes into a mind of a offensive player who misses a shot like that? Like, you're that close to
I'm
the
unable to
goal.
take down, man. With that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's tough to recover, right? Because it's such an important game that you can't have a miss like that, especially being up. Only I think we were up to one by that point, and I mean, it's still a close game. It's still anyone's game, and you miss a shot right in front of the goal. No goalkeeper, no nothing. I'm sure it was tough, but I think fans being able to get behind him and him being able to lift his head up and have another crack at it. I mean, I think that really helped out a lot. But you just have to ignore that. I mean, it's part of the game. Missing is, I mean, it's going to happen regardless of whether you're the best player in the world. You're going to run into some of those things. The ball bounces weird and you barely get a hit on it. I mean, it's not really their fault, right? But what's important is that he was just able to kind of play that off. You could see the frustration at the very beginning, but then he got really cool, collected, and I mean he gave us a beautiful goal too. So he did absolutely great.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I love the positivity there for sure. That's I mean it is one of those things where maybe he was celebrating before he actually tapped it in, or tried to tap it in.
You gotta put your body forward, man.
He was already thinking of which Marvel character mask he's got to run to on what part of the pitch it's at.
Exactly right. Yeah, because maybe he was maybe it was a different Marvel character that he was gonna celebrate with.
Yeah.
That's what made the second goal special too, though. The celebration. Yeah. It just a nice goal, a killer goal, good team play, good build up, good goal, and then the celebration too. Just kind of like the cherry on top. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. I mean, and that's hopefully not our last match at the Pens this season, but maybe it potentially is. Everything to play for in Game 3. But I mean, what are your hopes for Game 3? Like, do you think we can beat Columbus on the road?
I mean, I'm pretty positive about it, right? I think we've all mentioned that. Well, not we, right? But you guys have mentioned that. Amado really wasn't part of that initial lineup, and you can tell that he really kind of broke through that defense like they haven't seen before. I mean, playing with 3 on the back was probably not their best choice with someone like Armada being able to kind of just run so quickly, right? I mean, the guy just slips out. Like you can't stay next to him, and I think he showed with that goal at the very end. There were a couple of other contributions in there, but I think I'm very hopeful. I mean, Columbus is going to have to do something different. I don't know that they're going to be able to stick with the same lineup they had before. They had challenges getting through our defense. We had a couple of mistakes here and there, but if Atlanta really concentrates, really plays their game, then it's going to be really tough for Columbus to kind of get through that, right? And again, with Almada, with what was his name, I can't say Giakoumakís, right? The player I hate the most. I think those guys are gonna, they're gonna be terrorizing that defense. If they keep it at 3, they got to do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is gonna be a thing where, Columbus Crew and Wilfred Nancy, their head coach, they learn from some of the best in the world in terms of they're always chopping and changing stuff. Each lineup is pretty much different from match to match, and so they absolutely, if they weren't going to change anything, they absolutely probably will. But I think it's one of those things where if we can continue to keep Gressel and Rossi quiet, that would be ideal, obviously, because Cucho Hernandez, he has a number, like I mentioned earlier, and I mean, you guys I know, Ellie, you play a lot. What do you see from Cucho Hernandez that is just so dangerous against us? Like, why
Jesus, man,
he
goes after me all, man. He's just that, I mean, it's what you get from a forward too, right? That's just very attacking minded, and he's chasing the ball, and any chance he gets, he's going straight for it. The way that he lost the guy or the defender in that first goal or in his goal, just a little touch forward, and that's all it takes, right? Like being smart about it and knowing where to place it. I mean, just a smart player overall. Hungry. You could tell he wanted to score more. He got a couple more chances after that. So, it just kind of, you just got to keep trying. That's it. And, like you said earlier about with Silva as well, you miss one. And it's right back up to, hey, let's go for the next chance. So, he's overall his mentality, I think, is what kind of keeps him there. So he's a great player to see.
Yeah, we were a little lucky.
Yeah.
We were a little lucky tonight with not getting any penalties against us either. There was a couple of times where they were making runs in the box. We had to do some pretty gutsy, desperate defending, and somehow we didn't get a call against us. I thought, when Saba put his leg out there, I was like, oh, this is how it ends. This is how it goes. But no, he didn't put it. He put his foot correctly, and the guy just kind of went down in a way to try and look like he was fouled when he kind of really wasn't. So like, wow, that really, I was like, this is just deja vu. But luckily it didn't happen. And then just Miles Robinson not being able to read Cucho's first touch when he took that shot. I mean, Miles is, like we said earlier, he's a veteran, experienced, very good defender, some of the best you'll find in MLS, and he turned him out. I mean, Cucho's very good.
It's just class.
So,
Smart player.
Yeah, he's a smart player.
Yeah.
He runs box to box. I mean, you're going to find him everywhere inside of that box, right? So that's why he's also very dangerous. So it's going to be tough to hold him back. I mean, he's going to be back at home. He's going to try his best to score, and we got to be really careful with that defending, especially with a player that's able to change direction so quickly. I mean, it's going to be tough, but I really think that we're going to do a pretty good job at just holding him back, at least enough, right, for us to kind of come on top. So you gotta do.
Yeah. And what I was like, from the read of this game, it felt like Columbus tried their absolute hardest. They went for the game, and we did too. And a lot of this game was coming down to clearly like who wanted it more. There's a lot of second balls, loose balls in the midfield, a lot of interceptions, a lot of people just going, I see the path that the pass is going to take, and I'm just going to make that gut-busting run to get there and break up the play. Both teams were doing this like crazy. So you could absolutely tell both teams are really putting it all out there on the line and gassing themselves out just to think that maybe this one play will be the one that cracks the whole thing open. And my goodness, I mean, we didn't really see that in game one. We saw Columbus getting to everything. They were all over the place. They were on top of everything. But here, it was for, when Columbus was at their best, it was like 50-50. When we were at our best, and especially in the second half, we were more so on top of them, which against one of the most prolific and, press-heavy teams in MLS, like, we were able to outdo them, which is, I mean, I don't really know what, I don't think Thiago is just the difference there. It's just the players just went, I'm not letting you get this ball this time. Maybe last game I didn't have the pace or the endurance or whatever, but this game I do, and all of our players said that in their head. Maybe it was like some kind of speech Gonzo said or something that got them fired up, but something got them, every one of them was like, I am winning this next ball. And that was to me the difference maker.
Yeah, no, I think that first goal definitely helped a lot, right? I mean, at the very beginning, we were seeing Columbus really coming at us pretty quickly. I mean, just from the start, within the first 5 minutes, they had a shot on goal, and it really gave us that confidence boost, right? Scoring that first goal and then scoring another one right before we go into half. I mean, there's no better motivation than being, above the other team when you're going into that half, right? And then coming in hot and trying to score some more goals. I agree. I mean, Atlanta United really showed that they wanted to win this game. And I'm really glad that they did that, because otherwise, we wouldn't have another game coming up pretty soon, right? So I'm really excited about that. And we'll get to another one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you guys have any final thoughts on the game?
I mean, honestly, I hope that we kind of keep that same energy, same pace, right? Going into this third one, I mean, we're going to be at their home, and it's going to be really tough for us to find that goal. I mean, even just being on that environment with their fan base, it can be a little intimidating from that player's perspective, but after this performance, I mean, a big 4-2, and I was hearing AJ that, that second goal, we shouldn't even think about it. I mean, it just came at the very end, kind of just
that guy wouldn't be able to score that goal if he was given another opportunity at it.
It just kind of happened, right? So I think that's going to give them the energy to know that we can go into this third game pretty confident and hopefully come out with the win.
Yeah, I mean we've done this. We've done this before this season. We went to Seattle and clapped them up. We went to Dallas and did pretty good. We also went to Cincinnati in Decision Day and did pretty darn good. I think this team's starting to figure out how to play on the road a little better. I hope that shows next game.
Yeah, and I mean, Columbus isn't exactly an away team, so it's going to be more interesting to play them back at home again. Again, I missed the first game, right? So I didn't get to see exactly how shaky we might have been. All I can say is just watching this game, seeing the team be a little bit more cohesive, play a little bit more creatively, doing more diagonal passing, not so lateral, just moving around more with energy. It seems like a much better team than I remember a couple months back. And that's kind of nice to see, right? Like, even if we don't make it past the next game, I think it's a pretty good sign of where the team and the energy is going to be at for the next season. So that's pretty exciting. Even with Almada gone, right, if he leaves, which, more likely not to happen. But I think the way the team played today, they didn't really rely heavily on him. So it's a good vibe from here on out. And using your beautiful vocabulary, we're going to clap him hopefully in the next game.
That's right. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, y'all. Good seeing you guys. Peace.
All right, take care, guys.
Take care.
All right, well, that was Elliot and Isai hopping on. Hopefully they'll join us again, maybe on Sunday when we review that game with a live stream. So let's take a look at the chat. AJ, you there? Your video is frozen. All right, he might be frozen. So let me read some of the chat real quick. While see if we can get that back.
Get Ellie to.
Oh, AJ, can you hear me?
There we go.
You back?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, you were gone for a little bit.
I'm here.
All right, okay. Cool. I'm going to read chat a little bit before we get our next guest on. We got a bunch of things going on here. So Fernandino Ronaldo says GG is not selfish at all. Yeah, 2 assists this game. That was incredible to see. Alan Alvarado, I think, was that?
Could have had a third. Could have had a third.
Yeah, could have had a third. Alan, I think AJ saw you at the game tonight. That's pretty cool. The 3 I say last week were the ones that make the difference, but that was without Almada. But with Almada, it helps a lot. Yep. Kevin says, never enjoyed my 2-hour drive home more. Absolutely. Strong says, yeah, Almada is the force multiplier. That's a good way of putting it, a force multiplier. I like that. Danta says, let's go Atlanta United. And the local pundit says, number 1. And Elliot Beaven says, the ref did pretty well this match. That's something we haven't talked about yet. It's a good idea, Elliot. Yeah, the ref was a non-issue this game, which is what you want a ref to be. I thought all of his calls weren't controversial. His, not, the VAR recommending no review about the, the penalty shout, I thought was accurate. I thought there was one other time too that I thought all their calls were pretty much right. There was one shot, it was for the Columbus goal. I thought it was weird. The second Columbus goal, the guy volleys it, and it hits off of another Columbus player's arm and goes in the goal, and no one even talked about it. So I thought that was weird. But the arm was to he was covering his head. He ducked, and his arm was covering his head, and it skimmed off of his arm, went into the goal. And I was like, that was weird. I wonder why they didn't talk about that. But
Yeah, no, it's Chris Penso, I mean, can be a little problematic sometimes, but this match, fairly clean. There were maybe a couple of perplexing moments, and if I recall correctly. But, I mean, overall, pretty clean, and I think that's huge. I think in a playoff match, Yeah, I would hope so. It's like hopefully the best of the refs are the ones that are getting the playoff. So
You'd hope so.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
definitely super key. But it's all right. So we have Gavin on next.
Good old Gavin. How you doing?
Doing well, guys. Very well tonight. It was a really good match. How y'all doing?
We're doing excellent, as you could probably imagine. We've been, elated talking about this game, their performance, the players, the coaching. I mean, this game had everything except for controversial ref calls, which we were just talking about, that made everything better. So anyway, let's see what you have to say about the game. Give us all your opinions, your takes, hot or cold.
Okay. I don't think you can bounce back in any better way from game one to this game. You go from no shots on goal to bagging 5 goals against Columbus. And I remember the commentator said they're even like they've scored the most goals in the league. And I know we give up 2. I don't care. Should be 1 because I saw what you're talking about. I think the second goal shouldn't have counted, but I don't care. A win's a win. I've mentioned before, last stream, if we win game 2, we definitely have a chance to win in game 3, no matter if it's in Columbus or not. Because the difference this game is that it was Almada's presence. Like I don't think he made a difference as well, like this game, because the first 3 goals he was never really involved with. The 4th one he was, but I just think his presence changed the entire match, because if he's there, you do well. I just feel that way. But other than that, we still played very well, even without him. But I think we have a really good shot to win game 3, and I'm very confident. But it's so hard to predict game 3 because it's on a weekend, and you don't know. I don't know yet. Because I think from what we saw tonight, it was a huge difference. Like we need to see that Atlanta United in game 3, or else I don't know what else. But
do you think what do you think? Was it the? I mean, obviously, it's probably a confluence of a lot of things. It's never, reality isn't so simple as it's just one variable turns everything on its head. But I mean, having Thiago back, having the game being at home, having maybe, I don't know, a rousing speech from Gonzo or something like. I don't know what it is, but there was definitely a more fired up team who heard a message of you have to win every second ball. Every time there's a neutral ball, you have to get there. You have to see where the ball is going in terms of passes. Whenever the ball is loose, you intercept it. You get in the way. You break up plays. We did that so much. Typically, that's Columbus that does that to us. We did their strategy better than they did. I mean, we hit them on counters. We didn't play like super heavy possession based. We were smart about it. Tactically speaking, we played defensive when we had to. We built out when we had to. And then we often tried to go on counters and long balled them. Like, that's... I mean, as I said this in another episode I think it was when we dominated Miami. Like, we hit them in so many different ways. We came at them with a variety of different approaches to how to untangle their defense. They were kind of I don't know which way it's coming from. I don't know how to prepare for this. They seem like AJ's. They seem rattled, and I think if we're able to do that away, I mean, and it's possible we could, because we have been able to do that in the past, string of games with, like I mentioned earlier, Seattle, Dallas, Cincinnati. We played those teams hard, and they're good. There's a chance that we can do that, but I don't know. Is it like us being at home? Is it Thiago being there? Is it, Gonzo's rousing speech? Like, what made them just turn it up to an 11?
it was just... Well, I think it's not just one. It could have been like all of the above.
Yeah.
Like, definitely being at home is the major factor, because you have 42,000 plus at Mercedes-Benz, incredible crowd, incredible playoff atmosphere. It was exactly what I expected. I wasn't too optimistic, but that was an amazing show. Great. I also mentioned I think it was also Thiago Almada's presence, although he wasn't fully like involved with every single goal of that chip though. That chef's
Yeah,
kiss.
magisterial.
Absolutely. But here's one thing.
Magisterial.
But here's one thing though. That you mentioned this on a stream before. You want to see more of offside Giakoumakīs. We saw that, and then we saw him score. Like
Yeah.
we saw a Wiley score after he was offsides. That first goal was gonna change everything. Then they scored again, and I was like, well, here we go again. And then John De Silva gets that second goal just before the half. Exactly what Cucho Hernandez did in that first half last game. I feel like it was the exact same way. With like game one, Cucho Hernandez did the exact same thing. I'm sorry, Silva did the exact same thing Cucho did game one
Right.
out of game two, and I think that was the huge difference in this game, and that's my favorite goal, especially with the Spider-Man celebration.
Yeah. I mean, it really was like a gut punch.
Yeah, it's like I told you, like that. I said it last stream. That goal before that first goal is huge, and if you do it before like the end of the first half, because Columbus just equalized, and I'm like, oh, crap, here we go again. And then we got that goal, and it changed everything.
Mhm.
So it was huge difference.
Absolutely.
But again, I think it's like all the above. It's just for game 3, we won't get all of that because we won't be at home. But I hope we see a hungry Giakoumakīs, offside Giakoumakís, and Thiago Almada's contributions to everything, no matter if he's involved to assists or goals or not. It's just all out. I even mentioned it last stream again. Like I mentioned that we would be all out attacking, and that's exactly what I saw. I saw a little bit of deja vu from the game in the regular season in the first half, but as soon as we saw Wiley's like first goal that got called for offsides and Giakoumakis' goal, it changed the entire match, and it was amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely, we definitely showed that. Maybe in terms of in game 3, maybe the question is, will it be kind of a chess match or kind of a maybe the first few rounds of a heavyweight fight where you have fighters basically measuring each other before they try to go for a knockout punch. I think it might be really interesting how these two teams go, like kind of their mindset going into the match and how they plan on playing. Because, yeah, I don't think any team wants to concede early. Obviously, like we were just saying, if you're the team that scores first, it usually bodes better. So it is kind of what does LA United do? Do they just absolutely go for it? Or should we be more measured? It's going to be really interesting. What do you think, Gavin?
I think it was just we were all out attacking today because like we saw, like again, there's a huge difference from game 1 to game 2. I mean, obviously we have to be aware of us having 0 shots on goal. It was like an LAFC performance. Instead, we're the losing team, and we saw more like chances. We saw everything in the first half. I did see deja vu from the regular season match because we were there, but Columbus was just there in those moments to clear it out. But then all of a sudden we get these real good chances and we put them away, and it was just so well done.
How do you think we approach game 3?
Yeah, so that's more the question. Yeah, like how do you think we'll approach game 3?
Well, Columbus, like Wilfred Nancy, he's like a coach where he'll change like his mindset, his plan each game. But the question is for us exactly. I don't like. We could see anything. We could see. I think I think we'll see a performance like we did tonight. But I won't. It's not a replica because again, you're at a different venue, a different setting. It's a whole different. I hope it doesn't rain because that changes the entire game. Hopefully, we get lucky with that again. But
Or
it's not
snow.
going to define your match. or snow.
Yeah, or snow.
Anything, or a meteor shower, anything. It's Columbus weather,
Yeah,
dude.
it's like, is
bad.
Venus in retrograde? Like,
Yeah, but I think we'll see a
Mercury,
very
maybe.
similar.
I don't know anything about astrology. It's nonsense. Sorry if anyone believes in that.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a very similar way I think we'll try to play the same way like we did back at the Bends, but Columbus is gonna find something in the film, and they're gonna do what they can. But I think we're still gonna find ways to score goals, and I think the gameplay performance will be nowhere near what Game 1 was, and we're gonna play desperate. I think we're gonna play really good. I don't know if I'm gonna have us winning or not. I don't know. This one's hard to predict for me because you don't know who we are. Like, are we gonna play like how we did in Game 1? Are we gonna play like how we did at the Vens? Who are we? Like, what team are we?
That is the question, Shakespeare. It is. We kind of have an identity, but whether that person shows up or not, or whether that team shows up or not, the greatest question of our season. We have been Jekyll and Hyde all season, and who's going to show up?
That's why my question earlier, and this is what's going to perplex me, is what is the X factors that make Atlanta United show up and go like Super Saiyan versus just getting kind of slapped around? Like, it's wild.
Yeah, I think it's this. We always play better when our backs are against the wall. Everything to play for. We start really playing sometimes when we get scored on, and it's just one of these things where, we're that team that doesn't wake up until we realize, oh, yeah, wait a minute, we actually should care. Actually should try really hard. But for some odd reason, that's just not the MO from kickoff every single match, and it makes sense why it wouldn't be. But man, when we play like this, we can beat any team in the league. That much is true. But it's just a matter of, do we show up on the day? And that is what we'll all be looking for on Game 3. But Gavin, do you have final thoughts?
Win Game 3. Advance. No matter who wins this Nashville-Orlando game, it's 1-0 Orlando in exactly the 80th minute and counting. I don't care what happens here. We must advance to play either Nashville or Orlando. Win Game 3. I don't care how you do it. I don't care how ugly it has to be. Just win. Advance.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, words of wisdom. I hope they win. I hope we get a win. It's going to be it's a tough order. It's a tall order to win away in Columbus. Very few teams have figured that out this season. There's a lot of reasons why people are not looking to us as going to be walking out of there with the win. But you know what? Was it Bryce, I think, was talking about us being underdogs, feeling like the underdogs. I want us to take that into this game, kind of being like, we belong here, but no one thinks we belong here. And we want to turn that narrative around. We want to say, no. You guys don't understand. This is our world. You're just living it. So hopefully that's how it works. But again, it really there's so many dang variables in this next game. It's hard to be like, well, if you flip this switch or turn this knob, it's like, well, it's so many different things. Then if it snows, it's like, oh my god. So
right, and so it's pretty much that. We probably need to get our main player energy, or whatever we've been that main player energy going. Sorry, I'm a little distracted, but I'm picking my parents up from the airport, by the way, guys. So you're wondering why I'm on the road for so long. But so I might have to hop off in a second. But
but you don't want to get their thoughts on the match?
Yeah, they probably didn't watch the match. They were on the plane, so it would be hilarious. Yeah, if they actually did somehow. But yeah, so Gavin, appreciate you. Thank you so much for your thoughts.
Thank you.
Great rest of your night, man.
I have one more thing to say though. It was a question they all had.
Oh,
It
do it.
was like who's gonna show up. I think it could be one of the two, maybe both. I think there was like from game one there was no Almada. Neither was there in the early regular season match. There was no Almada, and we played terrible. I think there will be because we've seen Almada play in Columbus in 2022 before, and we did not play as bad as we have there this season. So I think it could be that, or will we see the Giakoumakīs that we saw tonight, like offside Giakoumakīs, or just well, and him scoring goals too. It could be one of the two. It could be both. If it's both, I think we have a really good shot at winning. But if I had to say so, I think it would have to be Thiago Almada's presence and contributions to everything, scoring goals or not.
Excellent.
He was not too involved tonight. But
Right, but there's
fourth
something
goal.
about him that je ne sais quoi, if you will, of Thiago Almada. So, all right, Gavin, thanks for coming in and giving us your opinions.
Thank you so
Hopefully,
much.
we'll talk to you for the next game, and hopefully, it'll be a W.
Hopefully that would be amazing. But yeah, thank you guys once again. You guys have a great night.
All right, see you, bud.
Thank you. You too, man. See you.
All right, we have one more guest. If AJ, well, I'll talk to the guest if AJ has to hop off. Let me read a little bit of the chat while he gets ready. Let's see. Yeah, Andrew watches.
I went to the wrong terminal there, so it's all good. I'm just gonna hop over to the other terminal.
Yeah. So Andrew says watching rival Kitties score, it's still 1-0. Ellie, who was on the stream earlier, said, I would like to clarify, I was kidding about hating Giakoumakīs. Who can hate that man? Oh, he's getting some hate in the chat, I see. Okay. J-Mag says, excellent game. Columbus can take this L. Strong says, yeah, challenge those 50-50 balls. Drew says, did anyone notice that when Silva came off, Wiley started drifting to the center like Lennon does, and it created a lot of space for our final two goals? Yeah, I think the inversion of our wingers and our backups, our left backs and right backs is just been amazing. It really does throw teams off. Some games it doesn't fully work, but this game and other games, when it works, man, it really unsettles teams. It's been great. And we have Niall here. Niall, welcome in. AJ might pop off at any minute because he's picking his parents up at the airport. But while I have you, what are your opinions about this game? What did you think? What was your big standout players, plays, and what were the difference makers?
That was a really fun game. I mean, I was very, I think, pleased with what the team was able to bring tonight. It was going to be tough against a team that's as good as Columbus, but, with Thiago Almada, on our team and playing, I think it's we kind of just showed that, with Thiago, we're kind of just a different team with him on the pitch. And to be honest, I thought that we played Columbus out of the park, I would say. I feel like the only reasons that they were able to find any sort of footprint on the game is because we unfortunately made mistakes that allowed them to find some sort of momentum in the game. But I thought that we were very defensively. I thought defensively we were also very decent too. Whenever we would lose the ball, we were very quick to regain it. I thought that Muyamba, for example, had a really great game today. I remember there was this one tackle that he made on Nagby, for example, that really stood out to me. Muyamba was just everywhere. He was just a menace all day long. And then also, of course, Almada, of course, he was probably upset that he missed that first game against Columbus, but for him to come out like he did, obviously he didn't have his best game, but for him, he's one of those players where it's even if he doesn't have his best game, he's still a very quality player.
Yeah. He takes up space in the opponent's minds. They have to build their strategy around like what he's going to do. They have to factor him into things. So if he's not on the pitch, they don't have to do that. It eases up on them.
Yeah, I mean, like even just Thiago's movement causes issues. It opens up so much space for Atlanta to attack, and we saw that today. And then of course Gigi, of course, can't forget about him. He had a great match today. I loved the energy that he brought. He was very much, I think, a major force behind like the win today. The goal that he scored, that was probably my favorite goal of the night. The cross from Lennon to Gigi, and the finish. That was a great finish. And then obviously the 2 assists as well. The Mascara goal as well was also a great one. So like great night. Obviously the game. Obviously we're not finished yet because we have to go back to Columbus. But I think the pressure's now on Columbus because like the first match we played at Columbus, we didn't have Almada, but we now do. So I mean, obviously it's gonna be hard, but for me, I'm based on how the team performed today, and based on how the team performed today, if they can put on a decent performance on the road, I mean, anything can happen. Honestly, it is a lot to have Almada on the pitch.
Do you think the same Atlanta United shows up on Sunday in Columbus, or is it like the Jekyll and Hyde that AJ talks about?
I honestly think maybe not this, maybe not like the same, but I think a very similar Atlanta United shows up. I think the players of the match, I saw some of the post-match comments. They're very adamant about how this was a good game, but we're not this doesn't really mean anything unless we get something at Columbus. And for me, I think that's anything's possible, really. I would say before in the 2-0 loss to Columbus, I would say we had our moments, but we couldn't capitalize on them, and we kind of shot ourselves in the foot. So I think kind of learning from that and then sort of implementing what worked well in this game will work well in our favors. But for me, I think, we showed that we're no stepovers, and we're going to make this as difficult as we can.
Yeah. I mean, like AJ and I said, a lot of people had Columbus going far in their brackets. If we upset them, I think that's going to blow a lot of people's minds. And you know what? That's really good. I mean, that's a solid playoff caliber, cup challenging team that we're putting through. We're giving them a hard time, which it's a great sign of a growing team that's poised to do some, with a couple additions in the offseason, some switching around, can be an absolute cup contender next year if we don't somehow sneak into the cup this year, which I still think is quite a bit off, but it's this is looking very optimistic.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Even regardless of what happens this coming Sunday, I think this team's headed in the right direction. I think that's been apparent since the summer transfer window happened. There's a lot of more of a cohesive unit in this team. It's just there needs to be a couple of pieces, I think, but I think we're not as far as people maybe think we are to where we should be, which is competing at the top.
And hopefully, our team isn't gutted in the offseason. And just because people are leaving on a free or whichever. But yeah, I mean, there is the chance, obviously, as well, that we get better players. Could be a good thing. And we will see. But,
what was your favorite goal?
Yeah, I think he mentioned maybe it was the Giakoumakís.
Oh, he did.
But,
it was the Giakoumakís one. I mean, that's just a trademark goal. The cross from Lennon. I don't know. For me, I feel like Lennon's crossing is underrated in my opinion. But that cross from Lennon was just perfect, and then the header was just absolutely just cold. The celebration as well, everything about that whole sequence, I loved.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about Tristan running around tonight, but Saba also ran around like crazy. The guy was sprinting everywhere, getting stuck in, breaking up plays. Like he was like the equivalent of Tristan, but in the front. What Tristan was doing in the back. It was essential because then you had a complete coverage of the field of people getting stuck in and not letting you breathe, no matter where you are. It was so important.
I think that's like kind of.
I have to hop off.
Okay. Alrighty.
I think that's kind of to your point. Like that was kind of the thing that stood out to me is the whole collective sort of spirit in terms of anytime Atlanta lost the ball, they would win it back. You would have attackers and defenders try just cornering Columbus to get the ball back, which I thought was very good. Cucho didn't really have that much of like a opportunities. Obviously, that one goal, obviously, but Columbus attackers were not like that, like sort of as effective as they were, and part of that was because of like our willingness to just to dig in and to like be willing to get the ball back and make life difficult for them. So I thought it was a good approach. But yeah.
I thought like there was one point where Cucho gets another shot off on goal. It was kind of a weak one because he was off balance by Miles getting stuck in on him. For a minute, I thought that was going to be a penalty because it looked like Miles really cleaned him out. I was like, oh no. And that's a second time where I thought, Atlanta's going to give up a penalty, but luckily somehow, by the graces of, whatever God you believe in, we did not concede a penalty tonight. I felt because, they did it last game against Columbus. That's how they scored one of their 2 goals against us. So, I mean, last game we held them to 1 goal in the run of play. Yeah, we barely got any shots on net, but, at least we held them to 1 goal in the run of play. The other one was a penalty kick, which, to me, that's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, obviously our offense was terrible, but our defense did decently. In the past, I feel like that's like a 3-0 game against us with 3 goals coming from the run of play. Because it's just like a torrent. It's just, a wounded animal getting beaten up. But that was not the case. I think now with our offense firing all the cylinders, Columbus has their work cut out for them. And I really think, I thought that we might have been swept in this series because it was like, this, like AJ talks about the Jekyll and Hyde thing. I don't know what Atlanta United's showing up, but we got it once out of this 3-game series so far. Is it so much to ask for it being twice? Can it please be twice? I think at our best, like AJ said, I think we can beat any team in this league. And I just, it's got to be consistent. I don't know how you get that. I don't know how you get consistency at the highest level like that. It's hard to do for any team, especially when you're traveling and in a high-stakes tournament type game. So, I hope Gonzo has some ideas. I hope someone has some ideas. And if not, it's going to be quite clear we didn't, that Columbus is going to walk over us over there. So, I'm nervous about that game.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous too, for sure. But I think, that the performance today kind of also made it clear to me, and it should make clear to quite a lot of people that, hey, Columbus has quality, but Atlanta has quality too.
Yeah, I remember when Cucho Hernandez scored, I was like, okay, you guys got your Colombian goal scorer. We have ours when Mascara came on and banged one in. That was, he again just, he must listen to the podcast because he heard me bad mouthing him in the beginning of the season, and now he's just killing it. So, props to him. And if Atlanta United wants to send me a little bit of money because apparently I can coach up players just by bad mouthing them. I'm right here. So.
Same as Thiago. I saw people were saying on Twitter he's not had his best game, and then boom, he scores one hell of a goal. So
Yeah.
Maybe that's just I don't know. Maybe that's just
it's the opposite Luis Arujo effect, right? Is that these guys feed off negativity versus getting absolutely crushed by them. All right, so we got a live update. Nashville has officially been eliminated. Orlando has defeated them in 2 games. So that sucks for Nashville. Really pulling for them because I don't want Orlando to win their games. But oh well, it is what it is.
I mean, I like Orlando, but well, no, I don't like Orlando. Orlando are a good team. Let me track back, but
right.
I think they don't. I don't know. I feel like they don't make it as far as like maybe a team such as, I don't know, Cincy, or even Columbus. I would say is a better team than Orlando, but we'll see.
I agree with you. I don't think they make it to the conference final even. I think Columbus or Cincinnati or Philadelphia, any of those teams can beat them, even though they're the second seed and their away form is ridiculous. I think that, those teams are just, I think they're just better. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like star power or like consistency. I think it's consistency. Yeah, like Orlando's been okay the last couple of seasons in terms of getting the playoffs, and they won the Open Cup, et cetera, but like in terms of going far in the playoffs, that hasn't exactly been their thing. So if you're going to ask me to put them up against a team that traditionally goes far in the playoffs, I'm probably going to go with the other team.
Yeah, makes sense. They don't have as much experience in the playoffs compared to the other teams that we're talking about.
Yeah. So let me read a couple more comments, and then I'll get your final thoughts, and then we're going to get out of here.
All right.
So let's see. Alex Winberg says, no way. I'm at the ATL airport too, AJ. Alex Winberg, I feel sorry for you. It's not always the best place to be at. Strong says, yeah, that was because Almada was off and Peralta got on. So we had one more in the back so Wiley could move up to fill that gap, and we did well there. That was in response to when Silva came up, Wiley started drifting to the center like Lennon does. Firmino and Ronaldo says Edwin Mosquera equals Tito Villalba 2.0 from the 2018 Super Sub Club. That is a take. I don't know if I'm going to put Mosquera on the same pedestal as Tito Villalba, but
to either. There's too much history with Tito. I mean, Edwin Mosquera, he's definitely a good Super Sub, but he's not at Villalba level status. I mean, I want him to be, but he's not there yet, obviously.
Yeah. I think he's got a ways to go before getting to Villalba status. But, hey, it
could happen. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like I don't want it to go like the opposite way, right? Because we're just talking about how like the team feeds off of negativity, but like, if we give them too many props, then they're gonna start playing bad. Maybe, I don't know. So I don't know how that works, how the bad juju works here.
The paradox.
Yeah. So Strong also says, "Oh man, in regard to what you said earlier, I had nothing to do with you. I just had to read." Oh, he was giving him crap about his Giakoumakīs comment. Elliot Beam says Edwin has been improving. Yeah, he absolutely has. It's definitely the fact that he's been employed in the right positions at the right times versus what he was called upon to do earlier in the season, which was kind of like, starter on the wing. And unfortunately, that's just not where he's best used. Yeah. He's best used as a super sub, like we were saying.
Yeah, honestly, like of all the U22 players, he would be the one for me that I would want to keep right now. I think he's just has like something, like he brings like a spark. Of course, he's not going to be a starter, but like obviously, he has talent off the bench, and he's a good depth piece that you can rely on.
Yeah, the rate at which he's scoring in the time periods he's scoring is extremely good. When I see him come on now, my stomach doesn't sink anymore. It's it used to be like, oh god, like there was a time where when we made subs, I'm just like, I don't know why we're not also trotting these players out with like a big white flag that says we surrender. Like, but now when subs come in, I'm like, oh snap, this is going to change things for the better. And it's exciting. Again, tonight is a night, except for Zonde's like super miss for whatever reason, but he kind of made up for it with his goal. It's like they didn't really make a lot of missteps. There wasn't a player or any one play where I went, that's extremely bad. That cost us, a lot. And like, damn. Columbus's goals, they were just quality. There's not much to do about that. Those goals are probably going to be scored on pretty much every team. Like, it's just going to happen if they get those chances off. Hard to stop that. So, it is what it is. Fair game. You move on. But we did what we did. We got the job done because we got 4 past them somehow. like just blew them away. I did not expect to blow them out. I expected for it to be close and for us to probably win. And
Yeah.
damn, did I underestimate what was going to happen.
Welcome to MLS.
Yeah, it's a wild, wild ride. Stick around, everyone, for the next game on Sunday, because that's going to hopefully be just as wild. And like I said earlier, if we don't go down swinging like 3 or more goals, I feel like we just kind of got either found out or outplayed, and we just, that X factor I'm talking about just wasn't there that game. That's what I think about that. All right, Niall. Well, thanks for joining me up into the tail end of this episode. Hopefully we can hear from you again if we win, and hopefully when we win on Sunday.
Crossed. Fingers crossed. I mean, third game, so, I mean, anything's possible.
Anything's possible. And everyone in chat, thanks for sticking out with us till nice 11:17 p.m. tonight. All right. Well, on to Game 3, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck to us. All right.
All right.
See ya. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, guys.